Here's Navarro on the run. Navarro's going to keep it. Navarro for 6. Touchdown, Bobcat.
I feel I had a hard time staying in my own lane.
Oh my goodness! Red Murdoch, pick 6.
Harvath inside the 30 to 20. Blake Harvath will score.
And Mendoza takes a big hit. He never saw it coming. Trey White got in there.
There's his man, Rucker. And nobody's going to catch him. Goodbye.
Intercepted. Tyree Skipper. Touchdown. Telly again, why not? A step forward and make it 2 for Telly.
Quarterback keeper showing off the speed. Steps on the gas. Untouched.
The G5 Hive. All G5 all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live, where we bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I'm Luke, and I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. If you're watching us on X, or if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review.
And with that, I guess we'll move into our week 3 in review. Starting off with the Friday G5 versus P4 games. And we had New Mexico versus UCLA, and Deshaun Foster got fired after this one, folks. Shouldn't be a shocker.
Yeah, this was just like UCLA penalties on both sides, and then both sides of the line for New Mexico just did well. I'm trying to think of who the left tackle was for UCLA, but New Mexico just handled him. And Nico just kept doing all these hand claps, and like he'd played like 40 games, and he just kept having all these false starts. Just New Mexico did well on both. They won it on both sides of the ball on the line. They also ran the ball really well. UCLA is not very good.
No, they're bad. I mean, I don't know who's worse, them or Stanford, like in the P4.
Well, so what I'm kind of curious about is like the Lobos they're 2-0, but like I still don't know who they are yet. Like their defense, fast, playing,
Their defense looks a lot better compared to a season ago.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what they are yet. That's kind of like my thing I'm still trying to figure out. And then we got a bye week, and then they got New Mexico State, who lost to La Tech this week. I think it was like 49-14. Like, so I don't know if we'll still really get to feel out who New Mexico is for a couple more weeks. But yeah, they won this one 35-10.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by linebacker Jackson Eck.
Yes, absolutely.
He's definitely looks like a early all season guy, and maybe a Mountain West defensive player of the year potential there for Coach Eck's son at linebacker. He's the real deal. He's a high quality player. He's up there in tackles. We'll get there later on tonight, but he's, I think, 4th in tackles per game.
All right, let's get to all of the Saturday G5 versus P4 games, starting off with South Alabama at Auburn. Auburn wins this one 31-15. The first quarter was close, 7-3 in favor of Auburn. Auburn pulls away in the second. South Alabama scores to open the third, and just maybe they have a chance, but Auburn goes on this 8+ minute drive that eats up the rest of the third and ends with a field goal, and South Alabama starts the fourth down 31-15, fumbles after a 5+ minute drive. That does it in for them. It felt farther away. The game felt farther than it was score wise, but yeah, that fumble pretty much did it in, but it really kind of went out of hand when Auburn went on that 8+ minute drive in the third.
Yeah, I think if you looked at like the advanced metric, it would tell you that the game wasn't as close as the score would indicate. So, yeah, but South Alabama, they should definitely make some noise in the Sun Belt.
Oregon State at Texas Tech, 45-14. It was 28-0. And over really before it even started, Clint, he's like, give me a hug. Tell me everything's going to be all right. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can say it's going to be all right. It was brutal. When I tuned into it, I was like, oh, man, like this got out of hand quick. It was 14-0. Oregon State missed a field goal. Then Texas Tech threw an INT. Then Oregon State threw it right back to Texas Tech, and then Texas Tech scored a touchdown. And at that point, when it got to 21-0, that was pretty much it. And 45-14.
I think the good news for Oregon State is I think the schedule gets a lot easier.
Yes.
And so it should be better days ahead, Clint. Better days ahead for the Beavers.
SMU at Missouri State, 28-10 win for the Mustangs. Quarter one was just a quarter of missed opportunities. Missouri State had one interception. SMU had one interception, one fumble, one missed field goal, and it was 10-0 Missouri State at the end of the first quarter. Quarter two, SMU just finds their footing. They go up 14-10, and that's kind of when SMU just kind of, I don't want to say rolled, but that's when they figured it out in the second quarter and then went and win 28-10.
Yeah, I think SMU just kind of probably took it easy, right? Like they had the big game the week before, and I think they knew they were going to or felt they would win this game very, very fairly easily, and I think they took it easy. Rested some guys.
All right, now this one was an exciting one. Iowa State at Arkansas State. Iowa State wins this one 24-16. This was close going into the fourth. It was 17-10 Iowa State. Arkansas State goes down the field for an 18-play drive for 85 yards that ends in a field goal. And this was the turning point right here. Arkansas State could take the lead with a touchdown, 3rd and goal from the 2. Offensive pass interference, then a holding. They got a field goal, and that was kind of a blow. Like they could have gone in, they could have taken the lead. Then Iowa State marches right back down the field, fueled by a 44-yard pass from Beck to Xavier Townsend, former UCF wide receiver. They score a touchdown on a 4-yard Abasama run. They take the lead 24-16. Arkansas State then throws a pick, but they get another chance as Iowa State just ate some clock, gave it back to Arkansas State. They get the ball at the Iowa State 49. They get 2 first downs with 4:50 left or so, right around there. Then an unsuccessful 4th and 5 with an incompletion. ISU runs out the clock, and they had a dagger when Beck connected with Carson Brown on a 31-yard pass, and then it was victory formation. It was on the 2, offensive pass interference, then the holding. That moment right there, that's kind of when the wind went out of the sails.
Was that like, I didn't see this game, but I saw like Butch Jones just yelling at the refs.
Yelling, yeah.
I'm assuming that it was those 2 plays that caused.
Yep. He was not. It reminded me of the bowl game. I don't remember. He was like yelling a whole bunch at a bowl game a couple years ago. Anyway, it was an onside kick or something. But yeah, an angry Butch Jones. Really red face. This one will be quick. Louisiana, Missouri, 52-10 Missouri win. Louisiana completed 2 passes all game for 4 yards, 2 for 14. That's about all I got to say about that game.
It's going to be rough until they get Walker Howard back for Louisiana, unfortunately.
All right, and then we got UTEP at Texas, 27-10 Texas win. Although this was close in the first half, UTEP had a hard time moving the ball besides their first quarter. 7-play, 56-yard drive that led to a field goal, and that was the Texas's lead, 7-3. UTEP's defense looked pretty good. You could say Arch Manning doesn't look very good. Either way, I think UTEP played pretty well. Third quarter, while Texas only scored 6 points, UTEP only mustered up 11 yards of offense in the quarter, and now we're down 20-3. They started to move the ball with a drive of 22 yards, 55 yards, and 87 yards that ended with a 2-yard Shea Smith touchdown run. But at that point, it was a little too late for UTEP.
And then losing Kenny Odom, man, that's gonna be a big blow for them in terms of conference play if he's out for an extended period of time.
We've got number 18 South Florida at number 5 Miami. Excited to watch this one, but Miami handled business 49-12. Not much to talk about here, other than maybe the weather. It impacted my ability to watch other games I wanted to because of like all the East Coast games were like delayed by like 2 hours. It definitely made it hard to and I couldn't remember which game because I was flipping through them like, oh, it shows me a preview of one game and it's actually a different game, and I was getting all mixed up. It was tough.
Yeah, a lot of delays this weekend.
We've got Ohio at number 1 Ohio State. Ohio State wins this one 37-9. Ohio hung in there in the first half 13-3. They opened the third with a 2-play drive ending with a 67-yard touchdown pass to Hendricks. That was 13-10, but then it was all Ohio State. Ohio did pull Navarro for the last drive again because he was out and then came back in. I wanted to make sure people didn't think he got injured again or anything. They pulled him on that last drive. Next, we've got Old Dominion at Virginia Tech. The Justices, I'll let you cover this one. Old Dominion wins this one 45-26.
It wasn't a game, folks. Like it was 31-0 in the fourth quarter. Old Dominion was getting lots of playing time for their other guys, and the score. They scored all those points in garbage time essentially. Brent Pry got fired. So here's a cool little fact. Guess who Brent Pry's first loss to was at Virginia Tech?
I guess ODU.
Old Dominion. And his last loss at Virginia Tech was to Old Dominion. So, I know Coach Ronnie was asked today in the Sun Belt press conference his thoughts on it because Coach Ronnie was the offensive coordinator at Penn State and Brent Pry was the defensive coordinator at Penn State. And so, obviously, like he wants to win the game, but he also doesn't want to see his buddy get fired. It was – I got to tell you, like, this is one of the best games I've seen Old Dominion play in a long time. Like, just a complete game, offense, defense. By far the best game I've ever seen Colton Joseph play. He was throwing some absolute dimes. There was a touchdown pass, I believe it was to Naeem Gladding, man. And, oh, my God, like, that play, it was unbelievable. Like, it looked like I was watching the NFL. There's another pass to T.J. Johnson. The same way, like if Colton Joseph can keep that up the rest of the season, I don't know that Old Dominion is going to lose another game.
Was that the touchdown that like somebody was holding his like left hand and he caught it with one handed up? Yeah. I
mean, it was a great catch, but like the pass was just like on the money, and like we hadn't seen that from the passing the passing game from Old Dominion so far this year, but man, like they had it working against Virginia Tech. And in the post game press conference, I believe they asked Colton Joseph about it. And, if you're not familiar, last year against Virginia Tech, Grant Wilson went out, was out. Colton Joseph got the start, and he the first series he fumbled the ball, and he got yanked, and Quinn Hinicle went in and played the rest of the game. And so Colton Joseph kind of had that memory stuck in his head about how he played so bad against Virginia Tech last year. So he kind of had this. I think the quote was he had this game circled, and boy did he have it circled, man! Like it was just a phenomenal game. As an Old Dominion fan, love to see it. We don't. This is the first time we've ever won in Blacksburg. We've beat them twice in Norfolk. If you're not familiar, we had a series where we played pretty much every year until 2032. Well, this past off season, Virginia Tech wanted to renegotiate that, They didn't want to come and play Norfolk anymore. And so we renegotiated it, and we only play. We went from 6 games or 7 games left to 3 games, one of them including this game. So we do play in Blacksburg 2 more times, but be a different coach. So yeah, it was an awesome evening. I was actually going back and forth between 2 TVs because one of them was delayed behind the other, just so I could keep watching the plays over and over. But yeah, a great game, great day to be an Old Dominion and a Monarch fan. So,
all right, Western Michigan at number 9, Illinois. Illinois rolls in this one, 38-0. It was 10-0 at the half. Western Michigan missed a field goal, went for it on 4th and goal, got stuffed at the 1. Western Michigan opened the third with a 3-and-out, followed by an Illinois 5-play, 53-yard drive, capped off by a 3-yard Caden Fegan touchdown run. At that point, it's 7-0, and that's kind of where's the point of no return. Western Michigan punted, an Illinois touchdown, and that pretty much closed whatever hopes anybody actually thought WMU had at that point. Eastern Michigan at Kentucky. Kentucky rolls in this one, 28-23. It started with a Kim INT. That was the first series. It might even be the very first play, if I'm remembering correctly, of the game. Kentucky touchdown. Then Eastern turned away on 4th and 2 on the Kentucky 22, and then they turned that into a 79-yard drive and touchdown. Eastern Michigan gets within 12 by half. It's 28-16, but it never really was that close. They go for it on 4th and 2. They go for a 4th down 2 more times in the third, and it just kept getting further out. When you're desperation and it's okay, you go for it on 4th here, and then all right, now you're going for 4th at midfield, and then you're going at 4th, on your side of it just it just went down in a hurry. They at one point went for it on their own 27. That's how bad it got.
I mean, it's going to be a rough year, I think, for Eastern Michigan. Noah Kim's having to throw the ball over the place because they can't stop anyone else from scoring. Maybe they'll get things figured out, but I don't know.
Coach is on the hot seat.
Absolutely, 100% on the hot seat. I don't know if he'll get fired in season like Foster and Pry did, but yeah, he's definitely got to be on the hot seat.
UMass at Iowa. Iowa rolls in this one, 47-7. It starts off with 3 straight touchdowns for Iowa. It's 20-0 in the first, and yeah, that was pretty much the story. We can move on to the next game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought UMass would. I mean, not this isn't about this particular game, but I just thought UMass would be better than they are this year. But it's going to take some time.
Utah at Wyoming, 31-6. Utah wins this one, 3-0. Utah at the half, and they had 1 fumble and 3 missed field goals. Wyoming had 1 fumble, but that's when Utah had fumbled it right back to them. Then kind of Utah just turned it on in the second half, and it was all Utes the rest of the way.
I think I saw a quote.
Go ahead.
From Caden Anderson today, where he basically said the losses on him. I guess I didn't see the game. I'm assuming he must have played really, really bad.
So Duke at Tulane. Tulane wins this one, 34-27. First half was all Tulane. They moved the ball really well. Move into the fourth quarter. Duke touchdown from Mensah to Shepard, cut the lead to 10 with 2:57 left. Tulane runs the next 3 plays and kicks it back to Duke. Duke kicks a field goal with 1:06 left on first down. So they're, playing the game of, do I get the touchdown first? Do I get the field goal? Tulane recovers the onside kick and game over. This one was a lot closer score-wise than it, actually felt. But then at one point you're like, oh, is Tulane maybe going to give this away? Because it just felt like the game was in hand. Mensah didn't. I mean, stats-wise, Mensah played well, but when you look at that first half, it's almost like this coaching staff knew all of like what Mensa did well and what he doesn't do well. Imagine that. So, yeah, Tulane wins this one 34-27. That does it for the P4 versus G5 games. Now, let's move on over to our G5 versus G5 games. Memphis and Troy. Memphis wins this one 28-7. I talked earlier in the injuries about Goose getting hurt in the first. They had the long Troy touchdown taken off the board due to a penalty. That was a 70-yard or 70-plus yard, might have been 74-yard touchdown, and then happened that Goose got hurt on the very next play. Memphis was able to run the ball and win field position. Troy didn't even cross midfield until 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's how rough it got for Troy.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen like what I think Memphis would have won the game, but I would like to seen a full game with Goose Crowder, right? It feels like Troy probably came very one-dimensional, after Goose went out, Tay Meadows and Jordan Love.
Yeah, Tay Meadows was our, number one guy in our 2020 list last week, and Memphis could just key on him because, they were just running you could just stop them.
Right.
Like,
No Goose. The threat of a passing game was non-existent.
Buffalo at Kent State. Oh my gosh. This one. MACtion. It's Saturday, Mid-American Conference matchup. Not even really on my radar. Buffalo wins 31-28. Let me break it down. Buffalo was on upset alert. 2 turnovers and a failed fourth down conversion in the first half didn't help as they were down 14-10 at the half. Henderson had a nice touchdown run in the fourth, and he thought they are just going to pull away, but Kent State answered with a 50-yard touchdown pass from DeShields to Mulder to inch the Golden Flashes to within 3. In the fourth quarter, Buffalo would punt, and Kent State would go on what felt like the game-winning drive. 21 plays, 93-yard drive that ate up 12 minutes and 15 seconds, and it ended with a DeShields touchdown run. They're up 28-4. Kent State was about to break its 23-game losing streak against FBS opponents. They had their, streak get broken last week where they got a win. But Buffalo, Roberson would march the Bulls down the field, connect with Victor Snow on a 22-yard touchdown with 1 minute and 3 seconds left. Bulls escape. And it was just Kent State just played well. Other than that, the beginning where I talked about the turnovers and the failed fourth down conversion in the first half, if you just started watching in the second half and that's all you watched, it was just good football. Tackling, no missed tackles. It was just Kent State played well, and it kind of took me by surprise a little bit.
Certainly, because you don't expect that from Kent State, right? They've been one of the worst teams at FBS the last 2 years. So yeah, good to see those guys fighting hard.
I will say that if Alj didn't not play, they thought that he's a little nicked up, they would have lost. So good thing he played. Next game, we've got UConn at Delaware, 44-41 overtime win for Delaware. 3 drives total over 5 minutes for both of these teams. So it was either team didn't have
video
the ball.
Game.
Yeah, it was, and it just kind of felt like whoever had the ball last would win. Delaware had the ball last, they win. Entering the fourth, UConn's down 35-31. UConn marches down the field, but they get stuffed on a run at the 1. They go for it and get the touchdown. UConn's now up 38-35. Delaware proceeds to miss a 47-yard field goal. 4th and 2 at the Delaware 23. UConn goes for it. As 6-point lead doesn't really do a whole bunch, especially in a game that's going back and forth like this. They throw a pass. It comes up a yard short. Delaware moves it down the field quickly, and they hit the game-tying 43-yard field goal as time expires. Nick Mitakuchi ends the game on a 13-yard touchdown run in overtime. Like I said, whoever had the ball last seemed like they were going to score. Washington State at North Texas. North Texas wins this one 59-10. Washington State just got their doors blown off. North Texas defense showing out. This is something I think you were really curious on how this defense would play with Cassidy coming over from Sam Houston. The team's doing well. They had 5 plays in an INT, 14 plays that a field goal, and I'm talking from a defense perspective. Then they had 8-play drive that ended in an INT. Then they had 1 play that they got a fumble, 33 yards, and then out or a punt, and then 4 plays in an INT, 2 plays a fumble, 2 plays at the end of the half. It's 42-3 at that point. Like, defense is playing well. That was 3 interceptions in the first half and 2 fumbles. That's solid defense.
If that defense can keep it up, we know the offense can score, right? The issue is the defense, right? It looks like Skylar Cassidy might have things turned around there on the defensive front there for the Mean Green.
All right. Liberty at Bowling Green. Bowling Green wins this one 23-13. Back and forth, not very exciting. Caden Williams fumbles for Liberty, and Bowling Green turns that into 6 points, 23 yards, and it was a 12-yard Drew Pine to Jacob Harris touchdown that puts them up 10-0. Liberty then goes on a long 44-yard touchdown pass from Vasco to Dante Lee Jr. to make it 10-7 in the third. Bowling Green caps off the third with a field goal. They're up 13-3 or 13-7 going into the fourth. Bowling Green scored a touchdown after Liberty fumbled on 4th down in the fourth quarter. Then Liberty threw an INT. Liberty scored a touchdown with 2:46 left and down 10. Bowling Green able to recover the onside kick and hold on. Bowling Green, like I said, this is just like, it wasn't a very exciting game to watch, but Bowling Green's defense did play pretty well, and offense able to do just enough to get the win.
The one thing, like, I guess it had to be in like the top 5 things I'm most shocked about this season is I think preseason, like, we really felt like Conference USA was like Liberty, Western Kentucky, and everybody else. I think what we've learned is Conference USA is way more competitive, conference than we expected it would be. Heading into the season.
We will get to a huge game in Conference USA coming up this next week that involves one of these next teams up here. Florida Atlantic at FIU. FIU wins this one 38-28. FAU is up at the half, 21-17, but 3 straight touchdowns in the third for FIU gives them a 38-21 lead. Fourth quarter block punt for FAU for a touchdown, inches it closer to 38-28, but it was a little bit too little too late. Then Veltkamp threw an INT. FAU had 3 interceptions, 4 turnovers on downs. The interceptions never amounted to any points, but it's FIU's win, and it's their first win in the Shula Bowl since 2016. FIU showing out better than I expected. And like I said, there's a big CUSA matchup here with FIU coming up next week.
This was a game I lost money. I think, what was it? FAU was either, I think, only favored by like 1.5, something like that, and I put money on FAU. We talked about last week. I thought
the wrong team was favored.
Yeah, and anyway, yeah. So serves me right. I lost money on this game, but I made it back in a game we'll get to here in a minute. So all's good.
Jacksonville State at Georgia Southern, 41-34. Georgia Southern win. Quarter 1 was fireworks. There was 3 touchdowns. Georgia Southern had a kickoff return, and it went, I think, kickoff return, field goal. Jackson State had an INT. Georgia Southern scores a touchdown, and it seemed to momentum just shift back to back on these back-to-back punts, and then Jacksonville State had a touchdown before the end of the first half, and that's when things I felt like started to shift. Quarter 3, Jacksonville State starts with a field goal, and then Georgia Southern punts, and then Jacksonville State punts. Southern fumbles. Down Cobb had a 19-yard pass on 2nd and 16. Then on that fumble, Jacksonville State scores a touchdown. They go up 34-31. In quarter 4, Georgia Southern had a field goal. Then Jacksonville State punt. O.J. Arnold had a 41-yard run to start the drive, capped it off with a 6-yard touchdown by O.J. Arnold. Like I said, it was like this back and forth kind of going, and Jacksonville State unable to move the ball, and they would had to punt it back to Georgia Southern, and they were able to run for 3 straight first downs and ice the game. So it was kind of that quarter 3 down Cobb fumble. Like I said, it was a 19-yard pass on 2nd and 16, so you get the first down, they fumble it, then Jacksonville State scores that touchdown. You're like, okay, Jacksonville State's taken over, and then, like I said, the field goal, punt, big run, touchdown, ice the game.
These are both of these teams that just feel like I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Either one of them. Like it's gonna be interesting conference play. Like you said, we'll get to learn more about both of them. But like, it wouldn't shock me like if they're not good. It wouldn't shock me if they are good. Like I'm just based on the results to date. I'm not sure what we're gonna get. Georgia Southern looked so bad up until this game. And then Jacksonville State had the big win against Liberty last week, but as we saw, Liberty's not very good. Jacksonville State can run the ball, I think, but I think if they're gonna, have hopes of winning Conference USA, they're gonna have to improve that passing game.
All right, the game that I was very excited for. I wanted to see this game. I watched a lot of this game. App State at Southern Miss, and Southern Miss wins this game, and it really shifted at that interception. I mentioned the 99-yard touchdown return that happened in this game. Swan had 3 INTs inside the 10-yard line, and I could be wrong. That could be the 5-yard line, and it was 17-7 in the first half. That's 3 touchdowns. The one that was the interception return is like in Stroman's hands. I think it popped up, and then he ran it back. Freshman Noah Gillian, he actually replaced Swan because of the poor play there on the last drive of the first half. While it was 17-7 at the time of the quarterback change, that interception return, it was 10-7 at that point. That just kind of like was the unraveling of App State. Then you make the quarterback change, and then Southern Miss, I'm trying to remember who it was, but they had 3 sacks, in the second half by one guy. It just
Jamon Tapp, I think is who it was.
Jamon Tapp. It was like 3 sacks is impressive. It was a freshman, but like things unraveled quickly there for App State.
To me, it's surprising that Noah Gillen was the next choice up. Like I would have assumed it would have been that would have been JJ Cole. So that's kind of interesting.
All right, New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech rolls in this one 49-14 in a Conference USA matchup. It was La Tech early, but New Mexico State came and made it close at the end of the first half. It was 27-14, but in the third quarter, it was all punts for both teams, and New Mexico State threw an INT. Then it was all Louisiana Tech. They scored 22 points in the fourth quarter. La Tech rolls.
Blake Baker was the starter, looked like, for La Tech. Looked like he had a pretty good game. So they've rotated, I guess, 3 quarterbacks now, maybe.
Yes.
So maybe they found their answer with Blake Baker.
And I don't know if I mentioned the score of the App State Southern Miss, but it's 38-22 Southern Miss win. East Carolina at Coastal. East Carolina wins this one 38-0. It was 10-0 at the half. It could have been much worse. ECU missed a field goal that was inside Coastal's 20, and they didn't. So they missed a field goal, and then they were inside Coastal's 20, and did not get it on a 4th and 1. All the fireworks came in the 4th with 3 ECU touchdowns. Coastal threw 1 INT, had 2 fumbles in the 4th, and honestly, Coastal's. I don't know if I would call it like
bad.
I want to almost say it's the best kept secret about how bad they are because no one's really talking about it. But
this is the game that won me my money back right here because I think ECU was like 6.5 or 7-point favorite, and I was like, "There's just no way." Like Coastal is really, really bad. Like ECU is gonna blow them out, and that's so. I thankful for ECU for winning me back my money. And to Kenneth's point, hopefully you enjoyed those free concessions. How many nachos and hot dogs did you eat, Kenneth? I'm curious to see if we hear at the end of the year how successful those free concessions were in terms of getting folks to come to a game and spend money on other things.
They also, I'm trying to remember what the exact term was, but like if any fans were able to like come to every game for like 19 straight games, they could lead the team out of the
lead them out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Navy at Tulsa, 42-23. Navy wins in an American Conference matchup. Horvath had 2 INTs that led to Tulsa touchdowns. He had a fumble, but then Tulsa had to punt. This game really turned in the second quarter when Tulsa was driving. They're up 14-7. Tulsa looked pretty good, but Baylor Hayes was sacked and he fumbled. It got recovered by Luke Paris. The Navy flipped the switch. It was 21-17 at half. Quarter 3, Tulsa goes for it on 4th down at midfield. They get stopped. Navy scores a touchdown. Then the same thing next drive. Stopped on 4th down at midfield. Navy touchdown. Then punt to end the 3rd. Navy starts the 4th with a touchdown. It was Kenneth ate all the 3. But this was like, I was like, oh, Tulsa's playing pretty good. And then it was just like Navy just flipped a switch and they looked great after those bad 3 Horvath turnovers to start the game. Then Akron at UAB. Woo-hoo, this was an exciting one. 31-28 UAB wins this one. And I talked to you guys about it last week. I was like, all right, this is what we want to know. Does Akron score their first points of the season? I told you they scored 28 in their loss. They scored their first points of the season. But let's start the game off with UAB opening the game with a kickoff return for 96 yards. So then UAB kicks it to Akron, and then the first play, 75-yard touchdown to Israel Polk. So it's like a kickoff, touchdown, kickoff, then 75 yards to that. Like it was like boom, fireworks right from the beginning. Akron scored on their first 3 possessions. They're up 17-14 in the first quarter. Quarter 2, Akron had 0 drives over 25 yards. They got a field goal thanks to a Kitna interception, put them in good field position. I think they were able to move the ball 23, 25 yards. And then I think it was like a 46-yard field goal, something like that. Third quarter, UAB's midfield, 4th down, no good. Akron then misses a 48-yard field goal given the good field position. And then, okay, now UAB's got good field position, and they have to punt to Akron, and it's 4th and 2 at UAB's 29, and then Akron is not able to get it on 4th and 2. A field goal cuts it to 8. Quarter 4, Akron opens with an 83-yard touchdown drive. They get the 2-point conversion. Akron is within a field goal, and then they are within field goal range, have 2 sacks that push them out of field goal range. UAB runs the ball. They hold it. Or UAB runs the ball. Then they get a holding. Then they have to kick it back. And then Akron goes 15 yards for passing play, but then a sack and the 2 incomplete passes. UAB is able to win this, but UAB, one of probably the worst defenses in the FBS right now. They got to really get things figured out, but it was a fireworks to start the game.
It's two bad teams. I mean, like Trent Dilfer, I don't know that he makes it to the end of the season, man. Like, if he does, I feel like he's definitely fired at the end of the year. But man, like, rough, like you said, rough defense for UAB.
All right, Air Force at Utah State. Utah State wins this one 49-30. It was a Mountain West Conference matchup. Barnes was 17 of 22 passing for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. He ran a touchdown of 7 yards, 11 yards, and 7 yards. Braden Pagan caught 7 passes for 147 yards. At one point, like, he just ran straight. I don't know what the defender was looking at, and he just ran past him, caught it for a long touchdown, or not a touchdown. That was just a long play. And then there's another one that was kind of almost like a Hail Mary type pass. It wasn't at the end of the half or anything. He just he threw it up there, and there's a pass interference in the end zone, but he caught it one-handed. It was kind of Braden Pagan's UCLA. I think it was a UCLA transfer. Just kind of coming out party. Barnes looked great again. Like I said, Utah State could be in our top 25 next week. They played well in this one and get the Mountain West Conference win. Yeah,
I mean, all Bronco does is win, right? I mean, wherever he goes, I feel like he's a winner. He's a good coach. He's got Utah State on the right track. If you look, this was a game. If you looked at the advanced metrics, it should have been worse than what the score was, and really just wasn't a close game. But kudos to the Aggies. It was like they could be someone to contend with there in the Mountain West. If you're still watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. On X, please give us a follow. If you're listening on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We're so grateful for everyone and all the support that we've gotten this year. It's been really amazing. Be sure to join us again next week as we discuss what happened in Week 4, and we look forward to what's coming in Week 5. And as always, bring you up to date on the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. So until then, we are the G5 Hive.